So, I feel like it's going to be a little awkward because I'm going to try to do this in one take. I'm going to be as genuine and natural as I possibly can be. So, no cuts, no retake, nothing like that. I'm just going to speak from the heart. But why I'm doing this video is actually, I just had a little conversation with a friend of mine. So, we just had this little chat about our workplace essentially, and how some of the experience we actually had in the past. But I was talking about how I feel like a lot of times when something happens we don't speak up, and I don't mean to do it this way because I grew up in Canada and the West, right? So I don't think there's any difference between anybody for the most part. And I like to put an emphasis equally on everyone. I think everybody are important. But I don't care. I'm gonna do this. You know, this is gonna be more, I think, geared towards my Asian brothers and sisters, in my opinion, because I think culturally speaking, this happens to us more often in a lot of ways. But essentially, we were talking about how, sometimes in the workplace, as Asians, we can work super, super hard. And at the end of the day, it doesn't mean you'll get the promotion or the raise. And, a lot of times, being the hardest worker in the room doesn't mean you'll get the reward you think you'll deserve, essentially. But, we were basically agreeing to the fact that it's not about how hard you work. It's your network. It's who you know, essentially, which is true. I know we say this, right? But I think as an Asian, a lot of times, even knowing this, we're still very hardworking kind of workhorse, essentially. And that makes us a model minority for the most part, which is okay, I think. I think working hard is essential part of, being a good person, But at some point, though, I do think that when the situation or when the time calls for it, we should speak up, And we shouldn't, I'm not saying we should speak up all the time. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying we should be a complainer, but in my opinion, in our culture, we're not really a complainer. In our culture, we do tend to keep our head down, move forward, work hard, right? That's what we're told. That's what we do for the most part. And I've done that, God knows, absolutely. But there are moments where I feel like, man, we get taken advantage of, and yet we don't speak up. They give us a little crumbs here and there, bits and pieces, and then we just go, okay, yeah, we just take it as it is, and we just go about, our merry way, essentially. But I think there are times when we should speak up. I think there are times when, we need to have some courage to really reflect on ourselves. Like, one of the point I brought up is that, like, do you not know what your value is? Like, a lot of times people, like, one of the point they brought up was, it's hard for us to talk about money, essentially, because it's a sensitive topic, right? Asking for more money is sometimes feels like it's worse than asking for someone's for their first child, I guess. So, we don't bring it up, and we just kind of like put it in a box, and we just coop up, and like these thoughts and these feelings, and we just kind of stuff it in there and stuff it in there, right? I'm not saying that we should be complaining, and like I'm not like I'm just being straightforward, right? Like I'm not saying we should be like the woke movement. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, though, there are times when it is worth it. It is, just at its limit, and we should speak up. And we should speak up. We should say something. Like, I had this branch manager once where I just feel like, this guy, this Caucasian man just comes in, okay? He never had any experience in this sector of banking specifically, in the personal banking side of things. But comes in one day and all of a sudden he's the branch manager. And then he comes in and the way he introduces himself, okay? First day was, you know, where I'm here because I needed this as a stepping stone, and in about a year I'm gonna move on to become a VP of so and so department, right? And I'm not gonna be here long, but for the time I'm here, I'll do whatever I can. It's basically his introduction, right? And this lazy mother, sorry, I'm trying to make this video as wholesome as possible, so I don't want to swear, but this lazy mother, you know every day he's not at work. Every day he's at his kid's hockey game, or he's at a golf game. And his excuse is always, oh, he needs to go on network and whatever. Okay? Man, he is probably the laziest manager I've ever had. Okay? In my life. He's one of the top three at least. Okay? Like, never there. Never really learned about this side of the business because he always thought he was leaving, in a year. And so the branch did very poorly. Like, it was garbage, okay? The results were complete garbage. I've seen it. And when he was managing there, like, the results were complete trash. But that's okay, I guess there's all kinds of people, right? But, man, did he know how to network? Like, he shined a good pair of shoes like no one could ever shine before. Like, there must be something in his saliva that makes it extra shiny. And eventually he became the VP, not of the same place that he thought he was going to, but he did become the VP. But I never, at that point I realized it's not about how hard you work. Man, you can work your ass off. You can work until you drop dead. It doesn't mean you're going to get the promotion or raise that you think you deserve. It's about the networking. It's about who you know and how shiny you can make that shoes to be. That's when I truly realized that I thought hard work could overcome people like that. Like the corporation, the company would appreciate that. But no, it is not how it works, because the people up top don't understand how hard you're working. They don't see it. The only interaction they will ever have is how you shine their shoes, essentially. And then they'll remember you for that. And so that was a real lesson to me. And, we never speak up. We usually don't speak up. We have never really spoken up when the time comes, and we just keep our head down. And a lot of times we just quit if we get unhappy enough. But most of the time we just stick it out. We just eat the cake. We just fucking go with it. Okay? Is that the right thing? Is that what we want to be? And the only thing we want to be? Is it like, I feel like we don't speak up for the most part because we're told not to speak up, because in our culture, in my perspective anyway, in our culture, it's because we don't speak up. It's because they gave us the opportunity now to work with others where we didn't before. We now have the opportunity to perhaps make more money or get better jobs compared to 100 years ago. So their graciousness to allow us to survive, essentially, in exchange for our obedience. That's basically how I understand it. I don't think that's right. Maybe because, I grew up in the West, so I feel differently. And I keep my head down too, like I said, right? But there are some point in time where I think is too much overboard. Like, just because there's no corporation that is perfect, and there's always going to be problem, at every place. and how you adapt to it makes a difference. Doesn't mean we can never speak up when you have to, when you encounter a situation where you have to decide between right and wrong. That's the way I look at it. I don't think you have to stay quiet just because, culturally speaking, we're told to keep our head down so we can be the model minority and be a good workhorse. I don't think we just need to, be quiet and never say anything. Even if we encounter a situation where is so wrong, it's ethically so wrong that we rather not say anything because we want to keep our job. I think our soul is worth more than that. Yes, our soul, okay? To do the right thing, I think is important. I'm not saying we have to be perfect, but there are some instances where it's so wrong. We should be speaking up, but yet we don't, for the most part. We just kind of coast along with it. And if we are given a little crumbs and bits, we're happy with that. But even during times when we get stepped on, like now, like Chinese people are seen, with more influence around the world, with, more opportunities. So I feel like they step on us a little bit more. They make us feel like, I'm not even from China, but like they would, I don't know, like maybe some of you don't feel that way, but like indirectly they can make us feel like, we're copycats. We can't drive. We take other people's idea, and then we're not gracious or whatever. I just think it's pretty crazy, to be honest. Like to feel that, like I'm not even from that place, but yet we're all lumped together, and it would make us feel like, oh yeah, no, like no, now this is the time for another race or another type of Asian to be on top. That's how I feel, truly. Like every so often, I feel like the Americans have a special Asian friend. It was, at some point, it was the Japanese people, and it was Chinese people, and now it's the Koreans, and if you do so well, eventually they'll move on to another group of Asians. So yeah, speak up, my brothers and sisters. Sometimes when it's worth it, you should speak up. I'm not saying, let the pride get the better of you. But we should have enough self-esteem and confidence to know when it's right and wrong, when it's time to stand up and fight for what's right. And I'm not saying go protest or nothing like that. I'm just saying you gotta stand up for yourself. For the most part, my understanding is, and I'm proud to be an Asian because we most of the time have a set of skills, or more than one set of skills, that allows us to do more than one task or one type of work, essentially. So I'm proud to be Asian. I'm proud that we like to study. I'm proud that we like to learn things. So it's a great thing. And with that said, also, my brothers, sisters, I'm gonna be honest and straightforward right here. Okay, go hit the gym. Okay, just because you study and you have knowledge and you have a set of skills, doesn't mean you have to be a weakling. Go hit the gym, build some muscles. Guys, look more like a man. And I'm not saying we don't look like a man now, but I'm just saying, like, be stronger, essentially, because the fact of the matter is, historically, we've always yielded to Caucasian people because we felt like they're stronger. They tend to be taller, bigger in frame, so they tend to be more intimidating. They're more like, they're willing to speak their mind. Okay, so Caucasian people do have a tendency of speaking their mind, which is great. But your physical appearance does affect how you act and react in reality, in your environment. And I've tested this. I've experienced this because I used to be really fat. And as I've mentioned in other videos, I used to be very obese. I used to be 257 pounds at my heaviest. And I lost a significant amount of weight. 256 pounds at my heaviest. And then I lost about 76 pounds in total. And then I decided, well, I was too skinny, so I needed to build some muscle. So I started hitting the gym 6 days a week for years, and I started building muscles. And I understood now that, your physical attributes will contribute to your self-esteem and your confidence. So when you talk, you can talk with more confidence. When people walk around like they're like, oh, like, can you like put yourself in that shoe? Like you're like, you see this guy, he's tall, strong, or he's strong, muscular. Like you're like, wow, that guy is confident. He's walking with his chest up, his arms are, pumping. He carries himself with a certain facade. So I think it's important. I'm not saying, like it's not the number one thing in life, but if you do want to be the more alpha, stronger male, like go hit the gym too. And it's not pick or choose. Like I'm telling you right now, it's not either pick the books or pick the gym or pick the gym or pick the books. No, I'm saying both. You need both, okay? You need to study, have some knowledge, like have a set of skills that's valuable and practical, and hit the damn gym. Be strong. Walk out with confidence, okay? And when time is right, and when the time comes, and you encounter a situation where it's so wrong, so against your belief, speak up. Speak up for what's right. Speak up for what's right for others or for you. Dang, bro, like do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Do it for your future family. And I tell this story to a lot of my friends, and this is a true story. I worked in this bank, okay, for 13 years, same bank, okay, and approximately 13 years. And I remember in the second year, I worked in head office for a while, but in second year, I was in telephone banking, and we were doing an annual review. And I remember this, like, dang, like I learned a few things in that very moment, okay? But obviously, didn't learn enough, because otherwise I would have applied it earlier. But there was a few things I didn't learn. I remember we were doing our annual reviews, right? So we get letters about our raises, okay? Like how much raise do you get, okay, for next year. I remember, people around me were sitting there and we're opening up a letter. You're supposed to open that letter, shut the hell up, put it back into the letter, and not say anything. It's supposed to be confidential, okay? And I remember there was this guy sitting next to me, okay? And this girl sitting behind me, okay? I remember the girl used to make so many mistakes, so many technical mistakes, okay? Like she would process the wrong paperwork or give the wrong information to clients all the time. Like I always had to make corrections, okay? Which is okay. It's all a learning curve, right? Which is fine. I'm not faulting her for that, But there was another dude next to me, right? And this dude, you could tell he does not want to be there, okay? He came from a rich family, I would believe, or a well-off family, either way. We weren't getting paid that much. It was an entry-level job, but he drove like a brand new BMW. He always wore designer clothing, like unless he was a mob or something. Otherwise, like there's, like he must have had a pretty good, well-off family, right? Which I did not have. So he came in every day, dressed well in his BMW. Great. That's okay, right? But every day he comes in, he makes the same mistakes too. And he asks the same questions all the time. It's like he would ask you, like, how do you do this? And you tell him, and then he would forget next week. He would keep asking the same question like a dozen times, okay? And he would still make mistakes. He would still get it wrong, okay? Learning curve once again, okay? But dude calls in sick once a week, okay? Once a week, this guy calls in sick, Caucasian guy, okay? Dude, every week, I'm just thinking to myself, every week I look over, okay, there was at least one day he calls in sick. But when the day comes, we did our annual review. He opens up the letter, and this idiot opens and reads, goes, "Oh yeah, I got the maximum raise." My jaw dropped to the floor. This guy got the maximum 5% raise. I got like 2.5%, I believe, okay, or 3%. And regardless of any other criteria, I had 5 times the sales profitability as this guy. I never took a sick day in my life, okay? I was the number one salesperson on the team. And I got 2.5%, while this guy got the maximum 5%. And he had the audacity to yell it out. You're supposed to keep a secret. Like, this is how smart he is. And I'm just thinking to myself, what the like, for real. Like, for real. So I took my letter, and this is one moment, like, I just remember to myself, I snapped. I just went, you know what? This is it. You know, how is this even possible? This guy who doesn't know what he's doing, takes a sick day once a week, okay? He was so stupid he would yell out what he's getting as a raise in front of everyone when you're not supposed to. I just snapped. I went up, I grabbed my letter, and I went up to my manager, went to her office, and when this Caucasian lady, once again, I said, you know what? I do not understand what's happening, but this is fucking insane. And I'm telling you this, like, this is how I said it, okay? This is fucking insane. I never take a sick day. I'm the number one salesperson on your team, and I get this letter saying my raise is only 2.5%. The guy next to me was so much an idiot that he yelled out what he got out loud just now. He got the maximum 5%, and he takes a sick day every week. Can you explain to me how that's even possible? How did you derive at that decision? You know what? I don't even care. See, here's the thing. You need to accept is right at this moment, I tell you right now, you're going to take this letter. You're going to walk into the VP's room, and you're going to change that. You're going to change that to 5%. And if you don't do that today, I'm going to quit by 5 p.m. I can get a job anywhere. This is a stepping stone. I've been here for 2 years. I can get this same job with any other bank just like this tomorrow. So I'm going to leave at 5 p.m. if you don't get this fixed. And I want the new letter on my desk by 2. Okay? Or else I quit by 5. I don't care. Like, I don't understand how did you derive at this decision? This such an unfair decision. I don't understand. Like, the guy next to me took a sick day once a week as far as long as I've known him. I don't even know how he's still here, let alone the maximum raise. So, you know, I didn't say nothing. She didn't say anything. She just looked at me as I said this to her. I said, I don't care, man. I'm just going to quit at 5. I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to write my articles to like different news outlet. I don't care. I want the whole world to know how discriminating this was. And I walked out. And then little did you know, at 1:30, because that was around 12, at 1:30, she came back with a letter, put it on my desk and said, that's fixed. And I got the 5%. The moral of the story is we should speak up. Sometimes if you speak up, you're not going to yield the result you're hoping for. That is the truth. I've had that experience too. But if you never speak up, you will never have any sort of result at all, okay, in your life. So my suggestion is sometimes speak up, okay, because that's how they do it. They spoke up. They spoke up and they get what they want. So why shouldn't we speak up? We're not the same kind of Asian as Chinese people in China. We are as much a part of Canada or United States as anyone else. We're from here. You're a citizen. You're a national. You were born here. You grew up here. You're here. This is your country as much as anyone else. And when something's unfair is so wrong, we should speak up. Especially us. I'm going to be honest. Especially us. We deserve it. We deserve to speak up. So you know what? You can kiss my ass if you think otherwise. We work hard. That's why we're called a model minority. We work hard. We keep our head down. We work overtime. I worked overtime. I never took sick day. I never even got overtime pay. I didn't care because I knew the value in my work, and I wanted to showcase the Chinese culture as a hardworking group of people too. Like I understood that, so that's fine. But when the time comes, dude, we need to speak up. When the time comes, we need to find some courage for ourselves, for others, for the future generation. Do you want your kids to forever and ever not be able to speak up, to forever and ever to just keep their head down always? I mean, in the old generation, I do understand. They always tell us that, but you know what? That's not what I want for my kids. That's not what I want for myself. That's not what I want for others. Okay, so if you have a situation like that, you should speak up. And you can talk about, why can't you talk about money? Well, you don't know what your value is. You don't know what you're valued at. Do you have a set of skills that is above others? Because you know what? Valuable skills is very important these days. Is very valued. Okay, because there's less and less people with valuable skills, such as communication. Just the simple things like communication alone. I do find that it's becoming more rare, as time passes. I guess with technology, a lot of stuff, people are not as good at presentations or talking to others or having conversations. So just, having valuable skills. But, I just want to say we're worth more than just keeping our head down and not saying anything. You find it in yourself to speak from your heart, to tell whoever it is you need to tell that when something is wrong, that when you're worth this, you're worth this. We should never have to keep our head down and not say anything. We should never be intimidated. Go hit the gym, because it's important when you walk out how people view you. Never judge a book by its cover. It's true. But the cover is pretty important. Wouldn't you say? The cover is pretty goddamn important. Never judge a book by its cover, but you will never know what the content of the book is without looking at the cover. Who doesn't look at the cover first before they look at the book? You at least need to look at the title, right? So to say that, don't judge a book by its cover, there's merits to it, but it's not entirely true. Because we judge everything by its cover first. First impression matters, man. How you look, how you present yourself. When you walk out, do you walk out with a certain confidence? Are you strong? Do other people go, oh, yeah, I may hate his ass because I'm jealous that he's so muscular and big. But you know what? Do they go, God damn, he's big. He's muscular. Man, he walks out with certain confidence. So, you know what? Fuck this guy. Well, you know what? It's still a compliment in the way I see it. And you know what? I'd rather be somebody that others look up to than look down to, essentially. So yeah, you can play tennis, you can run or whatever it is. You can do cardio too, right? But nothing is gonna replace resistance training in a gym or at home. Resistance training. Okay, so pick up some weights, man. Build some muscles. Don't be a weak, stereotypical Asian. My man, go work on yourself. Be the best version of yourself, both mentally and physically. Okay, and when the time is right, you need to speak up, man. Know your value. It's important. And sometimes there's going to be some risk to it, but the reward is so much greater because you yourself, how you see yourself, is going to be so important for you, for your future and the future of your family, your kids, and other people who sees you. So go learn a set of skills, but also work on yourself. Be strong. Go hit the gym. Speak up. read, learn. Okay? Yeah, be a model minority. Doesn't mean be a little bitch. You can be a model minority by being smart and strong. Thank you for listening. I mean, that was it. I'm sorry if this was not the greatest presentation or conversation I had. But yeah, thank you. Peace.